Okay, great. Thank you. I kind of want to welcome everyone for your attendance. I want to start by telling you a little bit about my experience with virtual teams. I've actually been studying and researching virtual project management teams for the last 20 years. I started as part of my dissertation that I wrote, which was directly on virtual project management teams. I've written numerous articles as well as a couple books that relate to virtual teams and project management. It's very interesting at this point in time that virtual project management teams is kind of coming back into the fold. When I first started researching it, there was a lot of debate on, the levels of success one would have with it, issues with potential issues with technology and other matters. And all of that was very important kind of in the early stages of the development of project management teams. So it's interesting to see now with the changes that's happened with COVID, how virtual project management teams have kind of been embraced really mainstream. It's no longer something that was a nice to have or we could do if we needed to. It's become pretty much critical and essential. So having said all that, I kind of want to just kind of set the stage for what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss some different topics. Some might be new to some people, some might not be new to people, but I'm going to assume that everyone has obviously some project management experience, but not necessarily true virtual project management experience. So just to kind of quickly go through the agenda, I wanted to start out by I'll start with a few definitions of some terms that I'll be using. I will be discussing kind of what I call the new normal of remote working. As I mentioned, now that the world has kind of changed and virtual teams are pretty much everywhere, this is something that is really going to be changing the world of work with project management. I'm going to talk about cultural complexity and then talk about how, the complexity that goes with virtual teams. And then I'll talk about the integration and the relationship between complexity, culture, and leadership. Then followed by some practical applications, and then kind of the importance and kind of going through what I consider, the positives and negatives of virtual teams. And then we will conclude with some question and answers. So without any further exciting things, we'll move forward. Okay, definitions. To start, complexity theory. I have written many books and articles that pertain to complexity theory, so I just want to understand or explain that, a complexity theory is more about the level of chaos in a project. It's about what I like to consider nonlinear thinking. And so I know as project managers, we spend a lot of time writing out timelines and understanding, relationships, routine tasks. But as we know, as a project manager, many times things just kind of happen out of order or not necessarily in order, or the project changes and you need to kind of adjust accordingly. Next thing, cultural complexity. I want to mention culture because it's very important for a virtual team. And, it's kind of shared assumptions that outline the character of the group and then defines and guides it. Kind of basically cultures within an organization can help steer and guide it, even if the manager is not there to remind people of policies and procedures. It's kind of that, in some cases, the unwritten rules. In some cases, it's the rules that we follow based upon the behaviors of people that we see. And then just to mention, a project is a temporary or ongoing business endeavor to create a product, service, or unique result. The important thing here is that in past versions of the PMBOK, projects were always defined as a temporary business endeavor. However, in the most recent version, they mentioned about ongoing business endeavors and how those also can be classified as projects. So essentially widening the concept of projects within an organization. No longer a project is kind of like this temporary team that comes together. A project may have a life of its own. For example, a project might be to implement an ERP system. However, there's a huge project that goes along with the operations and maintenance of that ERP system. So one might classify both as projects, one the shorter term, the implementation, and then one the longer term, which is going to be the fundamental maintenance of it throughout the organizational life. So, that's kind of some of the definitions. I will now go forward. and talk about the new normal of remote working. Obviously, COVID's changed so much in the world. The biggest thing to me that I've seen regarding change is the changes in education. I know for many years there was a struggle between online, on ground, synchronous and asynchronous education. However, essentially with COVID, schools have pretty much gone virtual, if not permanently, at least temporarily. And it fundamentally means that online education is effective. Although, obviously poor classes that are developed poorly are not good, just like, poor project plans don't result in great projects. So it's something that, obviously to keep in mind with virtual teams. And now the reality is that there are more remote workers than ever before, and many are not going back. Really, for the longest time, there was a very much a concept with projects that administratively you needed to have all your resources in an office and to do things effectively rather than try to manage people that are far flung across the nation, the state, or maybe around the world. And so what this has shown is that although, yes, virtual project management teams can be effective, what it's now leading to is the culture of the organization and leadership is something that's more important than ever before. Meaning, in the past, if you had all the resources under one roof, you could walk into someone's office, you could maybe get a hold of them, call a meeting, pass along information. And so, as a leader, you really didn't need to have too much other than the ability to set up meetings or go to walk down to find somebody. Now, as a leader, you really need to model behaviors. You need to walk the talk. You need to do different things in order to manage the organization. And then with that comes culture, because culture is the only thing that keeps people from doing things when they are when the leader's not around. So if the culture is strong and the leadership is strong, then people will be more apt and more likely to do the right things and make the decisions that are really going to make the organization successful. So going on from there, I want to talk a little bit about cultural complexity, because virtual organizations have their own culture, which is definitely different than an on-ground culture. Because now that you're not co-located with individuals, you aren't seeing them, you aren't having that water cooler talk, you aren't bumping into people in the hallways or in the parking lot or coming in and out of work. And so leaders need to be more visible in the virtual organization. And this leads to issues, for example, with trust, and also leads to creating the necessity for multiple lines of communication, meaning a leader who is virtual now needs to meet with
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also getting complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.